what does it mean when I introduce you as the manager and head river keeper of the Douglaston Salmon Run, otherwise known as the DSR? What does your job really entitle for those that don't know?
Yeah, so I, oversee all the operations, obviously the predominant part of that is the fishing, and that's the bulk of the anglers come in the fall. We have fishing year round, of course, but the majority of my planning and managing is focused on the fall.
Right.
Then we have, 7 different properties for folks to rent and stay at, and the maintenance staff, housekeeping staffs, river patrol, as you mentioned. So a number of different departments that I'm overseeing, and just throughout the year, neighbor relations. We do forestry and farming as well.
Mhm.
So got my fingers in a little bit of everything. It's great for someone that loves the outdoors.
And you spend a lot of times in the outdoors for sure. So how long have you been the manager slash head river keeper of the DSR? And did you work your way up in that position?
Yeah, briefly. So I've been the manager and river keeper for the last 14 years, or this will be my 14th salmon season. So I did river patrol a year before I took this position, got some experience there. And then prior to that, I was actually, my father and I were season pass holders at DSR. I'm actually from northeastern Pennsylvania. So the river captured my heart like it captured yours and your
Mm.
friends. It
Yeah.
has a tendency to do that.
It really does. I mean, it's to me, it's a magical place. And, and as we're talking, I'm going to bring up some pictures here. We go up there and we love the whole fishery. It's the first 2.5, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's the first 2.5 miles of truly fishable river water. I know there's kind of the marshy area, and, the egg sac floaters love that from the high banks southward, but to the Route 3 bridge. But really, in terms of moving water, I mean, this is just an awesome place.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. It's the first 2.5 miles of wadable water, that's accessible from shore. There is the estuary where you would need a boat between DSR and Lake Ontario, but
Right.
really it's the first place where fish, enter the flowing part of the river, and they come in big pods, and they're aggressive. They haven't seen a fly or, been presented, a bait before. So it's really a special place that way as far as
Just let it
angling, but
run.
just from the nature perspective, they're just in such big schools when they're migrating. I'm sure you've experienced it when you're in like the peak of a run. It's almost so breathtaking
Yep.
that you forget that you're fishing and just have to watch.